Have you ever stopped to think about just how much information your brain is processing right at this exact second? I mean, the sheer scale of it is absolutely staggering. Studies actually show that the human body sends a massive 11 million bits of information per second to the brain for processing. 11 million. But here's the catch. Your conscious mind, yeah, it can only process about 50 bits per second. That massive gap between 11 million and 50, well, that is the invisible engine that's literally driving your daily life. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're bringing together the hard data of neuroscience and the really profound wisdom of spiritual self-growth to explore some highly practical ways to improve your daily habits. We're going to figure out how to finally stop living on autopilot and start actively reprogramming the hidden superpower that actually dictates our lives, the subconscious mind. Okay, let's quickly dive into our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the hidden superpower within, the mind as a garden, unconscious conditioned behavior, awakening to pure presence, reprogramming your daily habits, and finally, taking back conscious control. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The hidden superpower within. To give you a real idea of the sheer unadulterated speed we're dealing with here, researchers ran this fascinating experiment where they flashed images of facial expressions to participants. And they found that it takes a mere 0.047 seconds for our brains to correctly register a facial expression. Crazy, right? When they dropped the time down to about 0.02 seconds, people consciously couldn't even tell what they were looking at. Yet their subconscious was still partially registering that emotional data, and it was influencing their behavior completely under the radar. Basically, your brain is reading the room before you even realize you've walked through the door. Moving on to Section 2, the mind as a garden. So, to really understand how to reprogram our minds, we need a simple way to visualize it. Think of your conscious mind as a gardener, and your subconscious mind as the soil. Now, the soil doesn't judge, doesn't argue with you. It simply takes whatever seeds of thought you plant in it, your beliefs, your expectations, your fears, and it nurtures them. If you plant the seeds of good, healthy habits, the subconscious is going to automatically grow them. But if you plant negative self-talk or limiting beliefs, the soil will dutifully grow those too. This is exactly why we have to be incredibly careful about what we allow to take root in our mind. Which brings us to Section 3, unconscious conditioned behavior. Now, what's really interesting here is this timeline, which is based on researcher John Dylan Haynes' famous study. When tracking brain activity, researchers found something mind-blowing. The subconscious mind actually makes decisions up to 10 seconds before the conscious mind is even aware of the choice. 10 whole seconds. Think about what that means. If you're living strictly on autopilot, just governed by old habits and reactions, you aren't really making choices at all. Your conditioned subconscious is pulling the strings long before you even feel like you've made a decision. But this automatic processing isn't always a bad thing. In fact, when it's properly trained, it's what we call intuition. Take this really incredible story of a firefighter captain. His team was hosing down what they just thought was a standard kitchen fire, but it wasn't going out. Suddenly, the captain yelled for everyone to get out immediately. Seconds later, the entire floor collapsed. His conscious mind hadn't actually pieced it together yet, but his subconscious had noticed that the fire was unnaturally silent, kind of muffled by the floorboards, and that the heat was rising from below. His subconscious recognized the specific pattern of a basement fire, and it literally saved his team. So that's the soil working for you, based on years of trained hard data. Section 4. Awakening to pure presence. So how exactly do we step out of that noisy, reactive mind and tap into conscious awareness? Author Steve Leasock shares a super profound personal experience about this. He contrasts the heavy restriction of living a reactive, thought-driven life with the feeling of pure present awareness. He describes doing a simple chore, just cleaning, and suddenly being overcome by this blissful freedom. He wasn't thinking about the past or, worrying about the future. He was just fully, completely in the moment. When you drop the assumptions and the judgments of that conditioned mind, you get to experience pure being. The anxiety just fades away because you aren't letting your past programming dictate your current reality. As Leasock beautifully puts it, thoughts and emotions can be excellent students of life, but these cannot and should never be the teacher. You see, you are the observer of your thoughts. You're not the thoughts themselves. To really reprogram your habits, you've got to first learn to simply observe your deeply rooted beliefs without letting them completely master you. Section 5. Reprogramming your daily habits.
Okay, so once we learn to observe the garden, we can finally start pulling those weeds. And check out this delightfully quirky technique used by Thomas Edison. When he was stuck on a problem, he'd sit in a chair, holding a metal ball, and just let himself slowly drift towards sleep. The exact moment his muscles relaxed, the ball would drop, hit the floor, and bam, startle him awake. Now, why on earth would he do that? Because he was intentionally trying to enter the alpha state. That's that super relaxed, daydreaming state right on the edge of sleep, where the conscious mind steps back and the powerful subconscious comes forward to effortlessly solve problems. Pretty genius, right?
Now, you don't actually need a metal ball to do this yourself. Here is your actionable daily toolkit for subconscious reprogramming. First, much like Thomas Edison famously did, never go to bed without making a clear request to your subconscious. It'll actually work on the problem while you sleep. Second, journal daily to actively identify and challenge those limiting beliefs we talked about earlier. And third, use visualization. Author Stephen Covey taught his son, who was a high school quarterback that got really anxious during games, to visualize high-pressure situations while completely physically relaxed. He was literally reprogramming his subconscious soil to associate extreme pressure with physical calm. Another incredible way to let the subconscious do the heavy lifting is by activating the brain's default mode network. Some people actually call this the do mostly nothing network. Just take a look at the simple tasks associated with these highly successful leaders. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates washing dishes. Elon Musk taking a warm shower. Steve Jobs and Charles Darwin going for long walks. When you engage in a simple, low-effort task and just allow yourself to be fully present, this brain network activates, connecting different ideas and sparking massive creative breakthroughs. Honestly, doing the dishes might just be the absolute best habit you can build for your mind. And finally, Section 6, taking back conscious control. Remember that 10-second gap we talked about where the subconscious decides before you do? It's really easy to feel like we're just along for the ride there. But recent perspectives, like those from Professor Ben Newell, really push back against this idea that the unconscious mind is an all-powerful dictator. So the crucial point is this: the conscious mind still plays a pivotal role. We are not merely passengers to the unconscious. The brain is a cohesive system, and through awareness and deliberate choice, like using the exact toolkit we just discussed, we are the ultimate authors of our actions. You are the gardener. The soil of your subconscious is just incredibly powerful. It's processing millions of bits of data in fractions of a second, totally ready to grow whatever is given to it. So I want to leave you with this final, really vital question as you go about your day. Who is really planting the seeds in your mind today? Is it your past conditioning, or is it the present conscious you? Take back the trowel, practice pure presence, and start planting the habits you actually want to grow. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.